What's up, my Central Unit? It's the Central Man here. So before the start of this video, this is an announcement that I'm not doing wrestling pay-per-views review on StreamYard anymore. The reason why, because I did a review on Sold Out 1997. It was a disaster. I was kind of stuttering, and I put that review on private. The StreamYard version of Sold Out 1997 review. So yeah, I'm not doing any type of wrestling pay-per-view reviews on StreamYard anymore. Just only on Power Director, whether it's whatever company it's from. Today's WWE or retro WWE, whether it's from the 80s, 90s, 2000s or 2010s, classic WCW shows, NWA shows, TNA shows, ECW shows, and today's AEW shows. It'll be on Power Director, but not on StreamYard. I will do, AEW Dynamite reviews on StreamYard, same as reviewing Monday Nitros, Clash of the Champions shows, maybe. So, anyway, so enjoy the rest of the video, folks. What's going on, Central Unit? It's the Central Man here. So, back again with another WCW pay-per-view review. So, this time, going to review NWO Souled Out 1997 at the 5 Season Center. I think right now it's called the Alien Energy Powerhouse in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, on the 25th of January 1997. The attendance for the show was 5,120. 170,000 pay-per-view buys this pay-per-view got. This is the one and only NWO themed pay-per-view. So this is years before, WWE did the brand-only pay-per-views for Raw and SmackDown in the two brand splits. So they're trying to test in the waters, trying to make the NWO as their own brand. So, trying to get their own show. So the reason why they got their own show, in kayfabe wise, so everyone knows the story of the formation of the NWO. So in the summer of 1996 at Bash at the Beach, Hulk Hogan turned heel to join forces with the Outsiders Scott Hall and Kevin Nash to form the New World Order. It was really the start of their boom period in WCW. Business was hot, and in the WWF side, it was suffering. So, and I really before I watched this show, I heard about this show. I watched other people's review on this show. It was turned out the show was memorable for being one of the worst shows that WCW ever produced. So anyway, I also done my research that this show is on a Saturday, not the traditional Sunday. The last WCW pay-per-view I reviewed was Starrcade 95. That took place on a Wednesday. So here's the reason why Sold Out 97 was on a Saturday. So this is the night before the Super Bowl. It was the match between the New England Patriots and the Green Bay Packers. So they can't compete with the NFL, the Super Bowl. This show took place 1 week after the Royal Rumble in San Antonio. Anyway, so the commentators for the show is Eric Bischoff and Ted DiBiase Sr., Trillionaire Ted, the kayfabe bankroller of the NWO. So, yeah, this is the reason why this show didn't do well. You got the commentary team, no chemistry between Bischoff and DiBiase. Bischoff's experience, he was a commentator before, in the early days of Monday Nitro, before you call him the mastermind of the NWO. DiBiase, he has no experience in doing commentary before, there is no, they got nothing to say, no chemistry, they did okay, sometimes calling the match, calling a move. They kind of sometimes, put over the non-NWO guys. And also, the production value, didn't do well for this show. First off, you got no Michael Buffer. You got this nominous ring announcer. It was voiced by Neil Pruitt. Pruitt was the producer of WCW at the time. He did the voices of when NWO did their video packages promos. You had the following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order. He's basically running down the non-WCW guys and pulling over the NWO guys, And also, you got Neil Patrick. He's the only referee on the show. Give Patrick some credits, referee every match on the show. He's the NWO referee, and he turned heel at the Halloween Havoc show in 1996. I covered that show in October. Anyway, so I think the key reason why NWO got their own show because the NWO won the War Games match at Fall Brawl 1996. And also, and really, the NWO guys came out with music in their matches. The non-NWO guys enter really the ring without any music. That's one of the reasons why this show didn't do well. And also, the biggest reason why this show is really was memorable for the wrong reasons is the Miss NWO pageant. It was hosted by Jeff Katz. I done my research before I doing this review on the show that he was one of the producers of WCW at the time, and also he was later on become a Hollywood producer. He produced like Freddy vs. Jason, X-Men Origin Wolverine, and also I think the most recent movie he produced was Deadpool, the very first Deadpool movie. This was in later years. This is probably in the 2000s, I think. 90s, 2000s, 2010s. Anyway, so the first, before that, the show started out with the NWO, the whole NWO were riding to the arena on ambulance and beer trucks, garbage trucks. Why they did that? It's just so, bizarre. They're not arriving the arena with limos or just normal lorries and trucks. It's just bin trucks. Why? Anyway, so a little bit of the Miss NWO segments. They are really awkward to watch. These biker moms in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, they're not really ugly looking, but they're not really beautiful. There's one with they're okay looking, but at the same time, you got one of them had great tits, But yeah, they're like ages between 20, I think they're about 40, 50, or even 60-year-old women. Some of them are one or two that are in their 20s and 30s. One of them looks beautiful, can't remember her name. I think it was Trisha, she was beautiful, but anyway, I don't want to get into it. Yeah, and also, the crowd did not give a shit. The crowd died. It's just a piss break, until the next match starts. Anyway, so let's get to the first match on the show. The first match on the show, we got Masamoto Chono. He's the first international star of the NWO, taking on Chris Jericho. Jericho, he was a babyface. He's not he's the come on, baby. He'll become the heel 1 year later. Feuding with Dean Malenko. Having Ralphus as his bodyguard. Anyway, the match was okay. It was, people say it's a bad match. I don't think it was a bad match. It was an okay match between Chono and Jericho. One more of the match, Jericho did a high fly move, and he was going for a knee strike onto Masayono Chono, but Chono got out of the way. Jericho hits his knee in the ring pose. A little bulks of the match, Chono worked on the leg of Jericho. Nick Patrick, I kind of like him. I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame yet, in the WWE and the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. He always does, every time the NWO guy, trying to pin, Patrick will do the slow 3 count, I kind of like him for it. Anyway, there was one botch on this match between Chono and Jericho. Chono was trying to do like a move off the top rope. I don't know, he's going for like a arm drag or clothesline. I feel like he rushed it and he took like a bad spill. No one got hurt. It looks bad. He put Jericho through a table. In the end, Chono hit Jericho with the big boot to win this match. And this is the problem with these matches. There is no build to it. Instead of the other matches had some build to it. I'll get to it later on in this review. So, anyway, the match was okay. There's no chemistry. It could be a lot better, but it's just like there's no, I feel like it never worked before, and I feel like it's not really. It was a little slow, but it was okay. Just a standard match, more like you take it or leave it. So moving on to the next match. The next match we got Big Bubba representing the NWO versus Hugh Morris. That's the future Hugh Erection, part of MIA, in 2000 in WCW. This is a Mexican death match. Originally it was supposed to be. Oh, by the way, Big Bubba is the former Big Boss Man in WWF. Originally it was supposed to be Big Bubba versus Conan for this match. I done my research and also I watched a little bit of Brian Zane's review on the show. And they find out that Conan, didn't make the show due to traveling issues because I think he wrestled or booked a wrestling show in Mexico. So yeah, Hugh Morris was the last minute replacement of Conan. Conan was part of the Dungeon of Doom. And also Hugh Morris is also part of the Dungeon of Dooms. Yeah, don't worry, the group will be disbanded in Bash at the Beach 1997. I covered that pay-per-view, in the last summer. Anyway, the show got downhill ever since. Not 1 or 2 matches, they were okay, but instead of the second to last match, I'll get to it later on. Anyway, so the match sucked. It was just a slow, generic match, Yeah, the Mexican Death Match is a last man standing match. Basically, you have to knock your opponent if the opponent cannot get up for the count of 10. It was just generic. It was just a really not so good horse fight. Horse fights in pro wrestling, it could be a hit or miss. And sometimes last man standing matches could be a miss sometimes, but most of the time they'll always be a hit. Anyway, it's not really a wild brawl. It was just a slow, sluggish fight. I feel like one more of the match, one of them, Morris and Big Bubba, trying to handcuff each other. They're like a pair of handcuffs. And like Nick Patrick, I gave credit with Nick Patrick. Every time Morris knocked out Big Bubba, he does like the very slow 10 count. And when, Big Bubba knocked out Morris, he does the fast 10 count, Anyway, one more of the match, Morris was going for there was a bunch of staircase near the entranceway. He was trying to do like a moonsault. Big Bubba got out of the way. And, Big Bubba knocked Hugh Morris over with a motorcycle to win this match. And it goes too far in pro wrestling. Like in 2010, in the I Quit match at Over the Limit between John Cena and Batista, you had Batista trying to run over Cena. He didn't legitimately run over Cena. But in this match at Sold Out 1997 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, you had Morris trying to kill, Big Bubba trying to kill over Morris with a motorcycle. It goes too far in pro wrestling. I don't want to get into it. And yeah, it was just not a good match. If Conan was on the show competing in this match, is this match going to be better? Probably not. And one thing, it makes sense to have Conan, eligible opponent for Big Bubba in this Mexican death match. But here's one catch: Conan is not from Mexico. He's from Cuba. I don't want to get into it, but Yeah, it was just an ugly match, an ugly brawl. Anyway, that's match number 2. Match number 3, we got VK Wall Street, that is Mike Rotunda, formerly known as IRS, taking on Jeff Jarrett, representing the WCW. He's also representing the Four Horsemen. He's not really part of the Horsemen, but I'm guessing he's like a satellite member of the Four Horsemen. I think he joined in 1996. And before I get to this match, the non NWO guys were not booked in this show. They were basically watching this match in the crowd. You had the cutscenes towards Holland Heat. You know, it's Booker T, Stevie Ray, Sister Sherry. You had Mongo and Deborah, and also with Arn Anderson was near the crowd watching the show, including Ming and Barbarian, the Faces of Fear. Anyway, so the match was another mediocre match. It's more take it or leave it. The fans were booing Jarrett. I don't know. I think they were they're both heels at the time. Heel versus heel. Like, no, I think Jarrett was a babyface at the time. So here's the problem with Jarrett. He always better off as a heel than a babyface. And I think it was the reason why people were booing Jarrett on the show. It has to be he's wearing like white. You know, who's wearing white? You know, if he wears like, because at the time Jarrett was doing still the country music gimmick. He ended up dropping the gimmick in 1998. He'll be the Jarrett you see right now. Anyway, so it was just, you know, I feel like some of these matches on the show, they're not really pay-per-view worthy. They feel like matches you probably see on Nitro or Saturday Night Main Event. Anyway, it's just like a little bit mediocre. It's just like the crowd did not care. And also one more of the match, Nick Patrick got involved only twice. He didn't really hurt this match, but you know, one more of the match. Basically, like Jarrett was going for like a running strike near the ropes. Patrick kind of pushed off VK Wall Street off the ropes, and when Jarrett locked Wall Street with the figure of a leg lock, Patrick dragged Wall Street into the ropes. In the end, Wall Street locked Jarrett in a abdominal crab. Mongo came out from the crowd alongside Deborah and hit VK Wall Street with the briefcase. And Mongo forced Nick Patrick to do the 3 count, and Jeff Jarrett wins. And yeah, like I said, it was just a mediocre match. It wasn't really a bad match, but it was just a dull match. This really hurt this show. And anyway, in the whole later on in 1997, you know, the Horsemen kicked Jarrett out of the group, feuding with Mongo, and then Jarrett left the company to go back with the WWF. You know, did the whole shoot promo on Austin. He blasphemed the Bible. You know, that's another story for another time. That was match number 3. Match number 4. This got story to it. We got the explosion of the American males. We got Buff Bagwell versus Scotty Riggs. So here's the story to it. So Eric Bischoff did like a alternating to the WCW roster to join the NWO. You know, if you're with us, you're against us. So one person answered the call, and that was Buff Bagwell. He turned on his fellow American males tag team partner Scotty Riggs to join the NWO. It's kind of like a little bit of the jumping point for Buff Bagwell. Anyway, so, and this is the problem why there were so many members of the NWO. That's the reason why it's a bit of a a mixed bag. Why it's you know, there was too many members. You know, they're trying to put every member in the group, whether it makes sense or not. Is it draw money or not? You know, I don't want to get into it. Anyway, the match between Bagwell and Riggs, it was an okay match. You know, it was back and forth. You know, Buff was entertaining. It's a shame he never won a singles belt in WCW. The only title he won in WCW was, you know, winning the tag team championships with Scotty Riggs. You know, he's never a world champion. He's never like a mid-card champion in WCW. Anyway, one more of the match, he kind of like countered like an Irish whip attempt by Riggs. He kind of like eat like a suplex by Riggs. You know, he gotta go, ah, you know, did that amazing yell. When Riggs hit the suplex. when he did like a wave when like he carried like Riggs's lifeless body, did like a wave, and that was kind of funny. And it's just what it, for me. Anyway, in the end, Bagwell hit I think it was the first time he hit the blockbuster onto Riggs to win this match. And yeah, for Sky Riggs, he ended up joining the Flock. That would be like late '97, I think it was late '97 and until 1998 until the Flock was disbanded. The Flock was Raven's group. So that's match number 4. Match number 5, we got DDP versus Scott Norton. So the story into it is DDP. He famously rejects offer to join the NWO. He wear the NWO t-shirts and hit Scott Hall with the diamond cutter. And then left the ring into the crowd. I think he teared the NWO t-shirt. And that was a jumping up point for DDP's career because he's been in the company since, I think it was 1991. He was a manager. He was kind of like this low mid-card act. He was not really kind of getting anywhere. I think the only accolade he won since he, being in the company was becoming TV champion and winning the Battle Ball, the Lord of the Rings ring at Slamboree 1996. But this was the turning up point. This has made DDP the top star, the top babyface of WCW at the time. The whole bulk of, really, in 97 and 98, he ended up feuding with the NWO. And also, he feuded with Randy Savage. That was in the rest of 97. Yeah, I think he had a death match at Halloween Havoc of 1997. So anyway, the match was... take it or leave it. It was a dull match. In the end, you had basically you had Buff Bagwell, you had VK Wall Street, you had Big Bubba, you had Vincent, formerly known as Virgil, coming down the ring and trying to make trying to offer DDP to join the NWO again. Sorry, I started my words. Anyway, so DDP agreed to join the NWO, wear the t-shirt. And once again, he hit Scott Norton with the diamond cutter, beat down the goons of the NWO, left the ring, jumped into the crowd. I think he take off the t-shirt, and that was it. And Nick Patrick awarded the win to Scott Norton because DDP, got himself counted out, and that was it. And also Sting was on the show. There was, during this match, he had, Sting was near the crowds. He was still developing his character, the Sting you see right now. You have to wait until late 1997 when he's feuding with Hogan for the World Heavyweight Championship at Starrcade that year. Anyway, so, moving on to match number 6. Match number 6, we got the WCW Tag Team Championship match. We got the Outsiders, that is Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, defending the WCW Tag Team Championships against the Steiner Brothers, that is Rick and Scott Steiner. The Outsiders won the Tag Team Championships at Halloween Havoc against Harlan Heat. And, no build to it. Anyway, the match was decent. I think it was a good match. It wasn't a great tag team match, but it was a decent tag team match. It's one of the better matches on the show, because this show has turned out to be a clusterfuck. In match rated standpoints of these matches, they're going down to 1s and 2s. This match, I'd probably give it a 3. It was back and forth. One more of the match, I think the Steiners were going for a tag team finisher. I think it was Hall and Nash hit Rick that made to cause, to knock Nick Patrick, the heel NWO referee, out of the ring. And then I think Rick hit the Bulldog onto Scott Hall, I think. And then in the end, you got Randy Anderson came out of the crowd. You got basically dragged Scott onto, looked like he pins, trying to pin Scott Hall. And then you got Randy Hansen. Randy Hansen did the 3 count to win this match for the not NWO, sorry. It was a vital win for WCW. They win this match, and the Steiners become the new tag team champions. Yeah, biggest win for WCW at this point. I think NWO were 3-1, and because Jarrett won the match against VK Wall Street. Unfortunately, 2 days later on Nitro, Bischoff take the titles away from the Steiners and award it back to the Outsiders. And Bischoff fired Pee Wee Anderson, Randy Anderson as a referee. And then there was one segment on Nitro. You had Randy Anderson brought his family, his wife, and his 2 kids, and pleading Bischoff to rehire him. And Bischoff said, "Kids, when you tell Daddy he's still fired, wow, that is a really sleazy moment for Bischoff. It's a shame. I hope he's in the Hall of Fame one day. To be in the WWE Hall of Fame and also in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Man, for me personally, Bischoff is the best heel in pro wrestling history. He's just basically plays that character damn well. In WCW, in WWE, and also in TNA. So moving on to basically the match of the night. Match of the night, we got Eddie Guerrero versus Syxx in a ladder match for the United States Championship. So, WCW in late '96 did like a tournament because Ric Flair was the current champion at the time. He vacated the title due to injury. I think he injured his shoulder. So WCW did a tournament to crown a new champion at Starrcade. The finals of that tournament was the competitors in that final match of the tournament was Eddie Guerrero versus DDP. Eddie Guerrero won this match, become the new champion, and then the NWO attacked both DDP and Eddie Guerrero. Syxx took the United States Championship title belt to set up this match on this show. This is way better. This is a breath of fresh air because 1, 2, 6 is basically big guys picking stuff up and putting it down. Both Eddie and Syxx, Syxx is, the future X-Pac, Sean Waltman. They're like cruiserweights. They're both smaller guys. They didn't like fast-paced moments. They used ladders as a weapon. They did some. It wasn't wild and crazy like ladder matches in the next couple of decades. In the 2000s and the 2010s. But they did like one more of the match. I think like Syxx or Eddie did like a drop kick on. Really, one of them drop kick each other off the ladder. I think they were trying to do like a WrestleMania 10 spot, the ladder match between Shawn and Razor. It's not the best ladder match in pro wrestling history. The 2 best ladder match in pro wrestling history has to be, I'm talking about one-on-one here. That will be Shawn versus Razor at WrestleMania 10 and Jericho versus Michaels at No Mercy of 2008. Maybe Del Rio, Christian at Extreme Rules in 2011. Anyway, so in the end, you had both I call him Pac. Syxx and Eddie were really tug of war with the United States title belt. Eddie hit Syxx with the title belt. He kind of dropped it, jumped off the ladder, retrieved the title, and Eddie retains the title and keep the physical title with him. Yeah, it was a match of the night. It was a breath of fresh air. Really good chemistry, good storytelling between Eddie and Syxx. Both future Hall of Famers. Like Syxx was in the Hall of Fame. He was part of DX. Anyway, so moving on to the main event. The main event of this show, we got Hulk Hogan versus the Giant, and this is for the NWO/WCW World Heavyweight Championship. So, here's the backstory. The Giant won the World War III Battle Royal at World War III in November of that year. He gets a shot at the World Heavyweight Champion. That was Hulk Hogan. Basically Giant challenged Hogan to a title match. Basically Hogan refused. I feel like one more, he basically ordered to chokeslam Piper, but instead he chokeslammed Hogan instead, or going after Hogan. This was I think it was during the feud between Hogan and Piper. And then on the 4th of January's episode of Nitro, the NWO kicked, Hogan really gave a Giant a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship on the show. And also, as a result, the NWO kicked the Giant out of the group. The match, boy, not a good match. Giants and Hogan, they never had great matches in WCW, I covered a lot giant Hogan matches in this segment. Like, he had a boring match at Hogwild of 1996. The recently was the main event of Halloween Havoc 95. That was a disaster. And this was the same. It was overbooked as fucked. You had really the giant no sell. You know, Hogan hit the body slam, hit the leg drop. I think he hit like a big boot. Giant did not sell it. Giant hit like a worse looking choke slam on Hulk Hogan. And then the NWO guys interfered. Giant choke slam, like I think it was Bagwell and VK Wall Street and probably Six as well. And then Bischoff and DiBiase came out. This is so overbooked as shit. Bischoff give Hogan a wooden NWO guitar, and Hogan hit the Giant in the back with the guitar once. He did not sell. Hit multiple times until the guitar break. Hit Giant again with the wooden chair, and afterwards the Giant, not Giant, sorry, Hogan kind of spray paint the Giant's back. You know, it says like NWO for life, and that was the end of the show. Unfortunately, this match ended in a non-contest. I don't want to get into it, but yeah, this was a shit match, clusterfuck, and the match ended with a non-contest, and that was the end of the show. And wow, it's just, this is the reason why this show sucked, in my opinion. And the fans were pissed off. They were pissed off in the end. They were chanting, "We want Sting." Unfortunately, Sting only showed up in the rafters. He did not save the day. Yeah, planting the seeds of the rivalry, the payoff at Starrcade 97, Hogan Sting for the World Heavyweight Championship. So, anyway, so my final rating for NWO Souled Out 1997, the one and only NWO Souled Out in WCW history, I'm going to give it 2 out of 10. What a clusterfuck of a show. You know, there's been a lot of bad shows in WCW in the past. Like, the one show really broke me has to be Great American Bash 2000. The match in that has to be, you know, Eddie versus Six in the ladder match. And for me, also in the good has to be the tag team title match between Outsiders and the Steiners. The okay matches were Chono versus Jericho and Riggs versus Bagwell. Besides that, most of the matches are shit, including the NWO pageant, you know. Better on Nitro, not on a pay-per-view that people will spend a lot of money. I hope you enjoyed my review of NWO Souled Out 1997. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, smash the like button, and subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Next time, we keep in still reviewing sold out shows, so let's go to the following year's sold out show. That is Sold Out 1998. So this is the Central Man officially signing out. Sold Out 1997. This is a thumbs down show. You know, the main event, the Mexican Death Match, and other shit, including the NWO pageant.